action, live to the moment. You better be excited because it is time to get caught up in the space-time to life. And I'm tuning in to, of course, Elon Musk. One of the important key personalities within inside of what I would call the great risk takers inside of entrepreneurship. Somebody who has gone out on a limb and not only braved the investment in time and money, but clearly the innovation that it takes to bring new space technology to a reality and result with a lot of trial and error. You better believe the space program didn't take off overnight. So with inside of his new rocket ship design and each and every important lead that this history made and continue to be made by Elon Musk, SpaceX, Starlink, and everything else makes it so that a 2-day delay from the important 17th, which is prime to the right, prime to the left, and 8 even awesomeness in no beginning and no end. Inside of design, there technically is no beginning and no end. There's just a whole bunch of trial and error that makes the loop continue to go. Inside of binomial codes and or algorithms, the same things, permutations, everything boils down to the awesomeness that is engineering. And the more you try to realize that complexity is a part of engineering, the simpler, the better. And it's important. So, engineering space to life means that I'm going to be listening to Elon Musk. And that's my choice today on the 20th of November, 2021, as I continue to digest my third meal of the day. And if you think about it, 3 meals, whether you're here on Earth or on a local planet somewhere close to Earth inside of what's called the habitable zone. And as we look further outside our own galaxy, we're looking for that Goldilocks zone. Just like the 3 bears, it has to have that perfect temperature, the perfect water, and that perfect, excellent combination what we have here on Earth, meaning that our star is heating everything. So atmosphere is not disappearing, water is staying, and life as we know it can exist. There has to be those Goldilocks, the 3 bears, important combinations. So when you think forward, and you're thinking innovatively, you have to be able to see things that may not necessarily be logical at the time, but as you start to realize that everything we know on Earth is not necessarily how things are in space, that's the number one thing to realize as one goes out into the great beyond. So meta, to be inside of the meta universe or metaphysics, realize that particle physics is something that's in all of us. We're all energy. We're, and if you're intuitive and you're instinctive like me, you may feel the energy inside of life too, and that's what they call the force. Now, quite honestly, I've got a very, I don't know if I would call it metachlorians, but I've got a high neuronal rate. So meaning that I am very in tune with my body and all life around me. So as one is traveling into the space program and one is an astronaut, the importance not just on all the importance of what knowledge one can bring to space in physics, astrophysics, physiology, anatomy, biochemistry, and all of the social sciences and sciences all put together, it's equally important to have great senses. So the senses are something that can be mathematically worked upon with attrition mentally and physically. And there's nothing more important than the training that one can do on Earth to prepare, which what they've done already inside of the SpaceX program. As NASA, ESA have also conducted these space simulators for a very long time. Now, once you've reached inside of the different specific areas of space, you gotta think this way. Think about it like this. If you're on the moon, and you're standing on the moon and you have your space boots and you got your spacesuit and you're walking around on the moon, it's different, than if you're on Mars. And it's going to be different if you were to venture as far out to Titan. It's always going to be different on each and every planet in our own solar system. And that difference is not just based on gravity, because gravity is important. Gravity is what pulls our star, our sun. Gravity is what makes our Earth science what it is. It's like how we create an incredible magnetosphere. Gravity, thank goodness, for the Newtonian figuring out of things to make so much rocket ship design, escape velocity, mathematical equations, all my kind of favorite physics. I love physics. And if you think about it, when you get further out to space, it's not how much gravity is in the history of going further, because it's already happening, but it's the importance of what propellant and how much propellant can be utilized. And if you think about it, I've thought about this for a long time. The only real true way that I see existing to go further is not necessarily building bigger propellant or bigger ships. I think you have to utilize the solar power that exists inside of the star power that is our sun. And solar winds is something like solar winds, yeah. But I think the creation of the star is the key to getting further and further into space. If you think about it, there's nothing more powerful than the creation of a star. So by creating that same sort of burst of energy in the creation of a star, one could jump into warp speed and travel very far in a short period of time. Now, how is this going to be done? Well, just ask those people at CERN. How did they, take a look at studying dark matter and gray matter, all this kind of stuff that's, part of the brain and part of what makes up that part that's not visible in space. So CERN is another clue into what proton physics and the particle physics are very important to the realization of what neuronal activity, the atoms, superclusters of stars and all this kind of cool pulsar, all these kind of important parts of space discovery. But if you look further than what we've seen and known, you would realize that to sow one's, forward entrepreneurial ideas to bring about incredibleness, one would have to have the collaborative inertia of billions and trillions and quadrillions of money. So Elon Musk has done one of the great things in investing inside of Bitcoin. There's a big, huge plus. But you have to realize that Elon Musk is one. There needs to be at least 100,000 Elon Musk, because if you think about how far one needs to travel to get to a nearby Goldilocks zone, you have to see that there is so much research, technology, and innovative sciences. I'm not talking about satellites traveling out into outer space outside of our galaxy. I'm talking about people in ships, the type of movie you see inside of science fiction actually taking place. And Mars is definitely a precursor to learning how to survive in space and to make long-term commutes. And we're not talking about a couple of hours wait on your highway because there's backup. We're talking years and years and light years to get to that nearest important habitable zone. So there's going to be a lot of people saying it could be done with sleeping and autopilot and all this other stuff. My personal long-term thinking is unlocking the nature of the universe inside of star creation. That is my link with Elon Musk here to my right side, and that's an east side. And as I'm looking now, this is northeast. A 45 is an important part of an escape trajectory to move one's space shuttle as one enters into the outer orbit. So if you think about the importance of forward lead, you would also realize that when one is landing in a new atmosphere, how does one know what atmosphere they're going through, and can the ship withstand what the hell this atmosphere is made of? So think about it. If you're inside of a new planet, not analyzed inside the solar system, but so far away that you can't analyze the spectrum of what is making up that planet, you have to kind of take a risk and maybe build what you think is the most strong material to withstand some sort of harsh environment in an atmosphere. I mean, think about it.